So, another question. I'm glad Marcus Farr questioned it or asked. Talking about sharing similar footwork. The big problem in Wing Chun community is guys who just stand still and cheese out, and they help us with a dynamic fighter who is moving. And he's just talking about just variation. Okay. And everything else he kind of agreed upon, except for the cheese out part. I'm gonna explain the cheese out part. This is gonna make perfect sense. And Will kind of knows right now because he's been dealing with me, and we've been talking about getting moves to certain points so we can have a Chum Kiu neutral versus Sunum down neutral and such. If you watch that Sunum down, Chum Kiu, and BG neutral video that I got out, that gives a lot as to why Wing Chun should work a certain way. So we're just going to be rolling, and then we're each going to do techniques, but I'm going to walk it through so everybody understands why things are the way things are. First off, I'm glad Will is here because Will understands Chi Sao the way Bruce Lee did it. Bruce Lee walked in his Chi Sao. That was a point when me and Will used to do that. We would Chi Sao, and we're walking, and we're rolling, and we're getting this, and we're moving. You know, we're understanding our foot placement, all that, and such. You get what I'm saying? That's good. That's good to do, especially when Bruce Lee was a cha-cha dancer. That's another reason why he did it. It's not something he got from his teacher, but that's his cha-cha skill. That helps out a lot with Wing Chun. Being able to move, I suggest everybody to learn cha-cha or some kind of foxtrot, waltz. I'm not even joking.
Salsa's good for that too.
Salsa, dancing. Get some dancing moves. I don't care if you crip walk, okay? Crip and blood walk. Their footwork. I wish to God a crip or blood was to join my school because that dancing is perfect Wing Chun footwork. When it comes to switching out that jiao footwork, which I'll have that out. That video's coming out. Anyway, now that I said that, I know that was kind of funny, crip blood. So, the reason why we stay like this is because we're really trying to learn the technique of the hands first. Wing Chun is probably the only skill that does hand movement first before we step. Or we'll even step with the hand movement, but we're known that we'll do a technique, palming. Do a technique first before he steps and do something else. You got anything else?
I mean, talking about
from there. See, now he steps because he does another technique. Does that make sense? So Wing Chun is just known for that. Why? Because when you're in Wing Chun, we're not trying to. The opponent gets in your face and says, I need to deal with you or your mama or some crap. They're not punching you from here, and they can barely kick you from here. So Wing Chun, so if someone wants to fight me, yo homie, you stepping on wrong grass, you know that, you know. And then from there, that's when the fight begins in a boxing trapping range, okay? That's where Wing Chun shines, at least a little bit more. Not saying we can't do everything else, since we shine harder in that point. Now that I said that, I want you to see something. We'll do a technique, and it'd be something simple like that gum style panning, right? Now, of course he can straighten up and do that same technique, that magnetic north. Go for it. Just straighten out. You see how hard it was? Because he's already straight towards me. If I feel that, once he does that, I'm going to take the other arm and arm to the side of him. Now I'm to the side of them. I have now entered Chum Kiu neutral. Does that make sense? But in order to learn that, we have to go to a point of being able to do this, and learning, here, put your arm on so they can see, learning this, that front gum sound first. And the point of, when you do that, now I can come to here and understand that. Does that make sense? You gotta crawl before you walk. So a lot of times, a lot of Wing Chun people, and this is very smart of them, a lot of the masters are not going to show you all this. They're going to put out the beginnings of Chi Sao, which is very great. The only people that may show some kind of advancement and it still ends up in pseudo down neutral is Lung Ting's people. They will do some stuff. That will Chi Sao, and they'll show you the art of BG, and they'll do something like this, and they'll get into all that. But it's still front facing a lot of times. If he hadn't turned, it's still a lot of it's front facing. You know, except for maybe if they grab the head or something, right? So, in all honesty, most Wing Chun people are Sun Dao influenced. Or if they put it out there on YouTube, that's all they're going to show. Hopefully, I will be that difference maker. I do want to show more of a difference. I want to have a Chi Sao video. I actually want to turn it into a DVD. That's what I try to do with these long-ass videos. My goal is to eventually have a DVD of each of these skills in a better setting. That way y'all can get into that and be able to learn something and say, hey, I actually learned this form because Tyease put it out there, right? So one thing Will surprise us with is punching from any given point. That sucker over here, he will just punch and you won't even see it. Anytime. He just does it. I've been around him enough, he gets it. Like he just has it. Now, I'm just a little bit different because when I hit, it's very subtle. And I'm light and I just boom. And in this case, when I did it, I'm gonna tell you what I did. Even though I knew I was punching hard, I just synced my technique and went lower. So part of him going back was me sinking. Has nothing to do with the actual hit itself. Just Chum Kiu. Sinking.
Sink the bridge.
Yes. Which I'll get off into that. That's a whole nother topic we got to talk about. But here's what Will can do. You see his hand here? Just like I did to him earlier, he can already go into gum sao here and be able to turn sao to this side and already have me in Chum Kiu neutral. So I'm going to have him do that a couple of times. But when you do, make sure, I want you to get a good pin. Because if there's a way I can come back and attack, I can, right? So. In this case, you see where he's at? He got me so far over now he can't toss out to my Chum Kiu neutral. What happened was this gum sao has become the Chum Kiu neutral, and now he has me.
That goes back to that lesson you were telling me about I think it was last
Yeah, make sure they see it. Make sure they hear it.
No, but I need you here. The lesson you were talking about, going in that Fuke sao, manipulating the Fuke sao.
Mm-hmm.
That's from that lesson.
Yeah, manipulating the Fuke sao. Understanding that boy, y'all, there's a video I'm going to redo called The Three Fukes, and it's going to be all me this time. I may have some little adders from Ip Man or whatever, but I want y'all to see that when we redo that. That's going to be awesome. There's a lot of videos I'm going to redo, and we're going to make it even better than ever, right? We need that HD quality. So, right there, he had gum sao me. Right there. Now, mind you, I want to show y'all something real quick. He does have a slight turn in his shift, but watch. If he was straighten up, yeah, and did that, it's easier for me to fight back. It's easier for me to fight back. You don't want that. If you're the attacker, Wing Chun, naturally, the best defense is the offense. If you're attacking and you're doing whatever, you don't want that to happen. So I have less of a fight back if he turns into it, right? If he has that pinning or whatever, it's harder for me to do it. If I'm not trained in the idea that I got to straighten up my spine and everything else and do this, it's a lot harder. You get what I'm saying? And we don't want to wrestle nothing. So, like I said, if I'm the lesser person, guess what? I can't get it. I can't get that technique. The only thing I can do now is if I'm pinned here, John sell out. John sell out, he'll sell out. That would be the fastest move. And instead, and realize what I did. I did a hammer fist. Chum Kiu. It is in Wing Chun. We have hammer fists. Don't just think we have punches like this all day.
I like the Footwork Hong guard guys.
Yeah, you can hammer. Anyway, so he can do the same thing to me. If I pin him to this point, boom, got the head. Got the head. That hammer fist is really especially dangerous because you're hitting across the temple, the eyes, and stuff like that, or across the ear, and oh my God, it is crazy painful. Okay, so realize that. But the whole goal in Chi Sao, in the very beginning, and it's just answering the question, is just getting your stance and sitting them down right. Just getting your skills and sitting them down right. And mind you, the biggest problem with Wing Chun people today is they're trying to win in the very beginning of Chi Sao. Don't. Even if my master hit me 100 times, my goal when I got into that door happens to be some technique that will cover that technique. So if the only thing I want to make sure of is to have a good Wu Sao hand of protection, that's what you see how he went back just from that? If this was my only goal the whole night when I come through the door, and that's all I was going for, I was happy. I just want to be intimate with my skill. That's all. That's all I wanted for. If I got hit 100 times, I didn't care. But if I can get my technique and get it the way I wanted to, guess what? By the next night, you know, depending on what I felt like, guess what? I'm going to have this. It's going to be the same thing, but here, you see that? So it's going to be at that point. Now I'm going to startle them because I don't practice my skill so many times in getting this Wu Sao that now I know how to use it. Now I know how to use it. So then I go into something else. What about Tan Sao? What about Fook? Can I get the Fook different? What about this technique? What about that technique? I worry more about that than trying to hit the other opponent. Because that's not my goal when I come through the door. Now, when my goal through the door becomes, now let's see how the combat works with the Chi Sao. Now I care about hitting. I care about disrupting my opponent, interceptions and all that. Does that make sense? I'm trying to learn my skill. That's why I can do what I do. So, Will, what skill would you concentrate on? Just for the audience, what skill would you concentrate on? Just whatever. Make it simple.
Lop Sao.
Lop Sao. Okay, he's going to go for Lop Sao, so pay attention. It's not a, or whatever. He's going to find his way to Lop Sao, whether It'd be in this bong side here or this fook side here. Maybe he'll change up. But I'm going to allow him to do that. Why? Because in this chi sao, it's not about competition. It's actually more about upgrading your skill. Allowing allow the other person to upgrade their skill just as much as you. Because guess what? Their livelihood is in your hands. If they ever get a situation where they need that technique and they didn't learn it that night, they might end up in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong situation. You don't want that for your fellow student. You want them to come up, right? So he has slop style. You see how he did it? He went from this fook and he cross hand reference. Because he has me here, he has me turned. He has me in Chum Kiu neutral without having to shift. Now imagine what would happen if he shifts. It's going to be a little bit devilish, a little bit. So, now he has my full back. We are now in BG neutral. We went from a Chum Kiu shift with it into BG neutral now. How did that feel?
Excellent. I felt powerful.
Yeah. When someone has your back to you and you can do whatever, yeah.
I felt in control.
In control. That's it. So that's one. So granted, y'all, doing that is also one of the reasons why Ip Man eventually said, and it was around the time Bruce Lee was a student, or maybe just a little bit before, that he wanted to make sure he taught all his students Sunam Dao, but he made sure to emphasize the idea that they were going to stand in a certain area in the school and practice shifting all day. They was going to learn Chi Ma. It's harder than this dang carpet, but Chi Ma. And they would do that. They'll practice punching from Chi Ma. They'll practice controlling with the saw hands from Chi Ma. That's how he got that. Will did an excellent job in doing that, and he had my back. He could have had his way with me. Not in that way. Ugh. I like to make jokes, y'all. But try lock style from this point. See how you can play that out. Good. Good. And see, I don't know if y'all got to see this. I don't know if there's a better angle. Yeah, there we go. He had that arm control here when he locks out from that point. He has complete control over me. He could take me over there. He could decide to step back, kick. He could do all kinds of stuff from this point. But he has a chin unlocking goal here. It's there for you. So the one person I do like that's actually like plays around with Chi Sao more than any of us, at least what I'm seeing on YouTube's and Facebook and everything, is Ray Tan. Ray Tan is actually doing it. It doesn't matter. I'm glad he's doing it the way he's doing it, because it shouldn't matter what people have to say about his skill. I don't give a dang. I like the way he's doing it. I like the fact that he's putting himself out there like that. It's very vulnerable. It's the fact that he's doing it. A lot of people don't. They'll do it if it's an instructional thing like I'm doing right now. But it's harder to just freestyle it and just put it out there. So shout out to Ray Tan on this one for real. Like, all respect due. So now, I'm going to tell y'all one last thing and then I'm going to cut the video, okay? Like I said before, you want to have a goal in mind for Chi Sao. If the goal is Chi Ma shifting, just because you want to get people in Chum Kiu neutral, please do. That's it. That is goals right there. Chi Ma and stepping into Chum Kiu neutral is the dragon. Facing forward is the tiger. He remembers me saying this before. Wait, well, I had the old school. I said the dragon is forward. The tiger's forward. Dragon can fight forward, but it rather fight in angles. Because it's not going to be stupid just to forward face you and get hit. The dragon will either one, walk to this angle, or two, create the angle. That's real dragon kung fu. Real dragon kung fu, not some people that like to post about dragon kung fu, talking about 3 ways of great dragon kung fu. No, there's no, come on now. 3, 5 ways on YouTube, whatever. You know, look it up, you'll see whoever pops up. So, but the goal, my goal maybe like, if I want to do Sanshou, right? I may want to understand that from this fook, that if they have a little bit more pressure on the fook, give me a little bit more pressure on that fook. Well, that Sanshou may do that and understand what I can do from this point. Maybe I go from a reference of crossing and then straighten it out. Maybe I do like a Wu hand to turn into Tan to do something else. Because maybe I just want to play around with it. Not necessarily by efficiency and economy of motion so much, but sometimes playing around with things lets you understand things more. Like that Wu kept his hand here. That Tan spread them out. So now I'm getting the definition of what a Sanshou is. To spread. See, if I have a Wu, you're straight. Difference, right? And there are things that can happen because of that. Because right here, Wu, I'm not going to clear him with a punch like this. Tan, I'm going to be able to clear the punch. Right? Stuff like that. So I want to learn the aesthetics of the skill. And that's how that works, y'all. Any questions?
No, not for me.
I know that Tyease part was major. But remember what I said, I'm working on an idea about Tyease video. There's several things we're working on, okay, that I got ready. We want to do videos each and every time, but we still don't want to take away from our skills, what we do off the camera. There's so much more. We got more students we can do that with too. Videos. Ask your questions, let me know what you think, and let's move on, right?